Hello, everyone, and thank you again for joining the podcast. I'm so happy that you could take the time out to watch today because I have a very exciting guest. Her name is Jennifer Dickens, and she is a spiritual practitioner, a Reiki healer, a Kiriban yoga. Ugh.
Freeborn yogi.
Yeah, there you go. We'll talk about that some more. A heart
Sure.
math certified coach. She developed a powerfully transformative way of heart healing by awakening, activating, purifying, and illuminating the heart. And as an intuitive, Jennifer also shares her gifts with those who want to go deeper on the spiritual path. And, you know, I'm so excited to talk about the whole heart piece because, well, and I've been told many times you should check out heart math, and there must be some blockage in my energy because I really haven't done any research on that. And so I'm so excited to find you and to find all of this wisdom that you're going to share.
Well, thank you so much, Angela. It is an honor and a blessing to be on your podcast and to support your community and to talk about heart math and talk about the emotional and the spiritual and the physical aspects of the heart and how to support people in their heart healing, especially as it relates to overcoming loss, overcoming grief. Some of us tend to be more emotional than others. Some of us tend to express the emotions and some of us tend to suppress. So whether we express or suppress, there's emotions to be healed for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm anxious to talk more about that. So let's just start by you telling everybody a little bit about yourself and how it is that you got into all of this.
Oh, you know, it's a great question and it's been a long journey. And it actually started in 2012. I feel I had my real spiritual awakening. I think originally it started in the 2000s, but the real spiritual awakening happened for me in 2012, which it did for a lot of people and it has been trickling as well for a lot of people. But I really started to pursue my inner world through meditation, and I study and practice Kriya Yoga meditation. So it's a sadhana practice, it's a meditation practice. And through this meditation practice, it's a very deep and very ancient Vedic meditation practice that's taught in more of a Western approach, if you will. And through tapping into my inner world, what started to happen is my life started to change. My environment started to change. The people I associated with started to change. And then I found myself wanting to fulfill a higher purpose and support the ascension and the awakening of humanity and be supportive in whatever way spirit would have me support. And so I just surrendered. I kept myself open and embraced the possibilities. And when they showed up, I was like, first it showed up as heart math, and I kind of hemmed and hawed about it, like, oh, this is not for me, but then there was the persistence of signs and symbols and people coming to me about heart math from here and there. And then finally, I just said, well, let me step into it and check it out. So I tiptoed into heart math, which totally exposed me to my inner world at a deeper level, at the heart level. And I started to tap into my soul, my inner wisdom, my higher self, my connection to source. And so really started to develop and evolve that relationship with myself to discover who I am as a spiritual being and what that means and how that's expressed. And then everything just kind of fell into place. And sometimes I'd hem and haw, and sometimes it was easy to just go with the flow of what was coming. And I find myself here today working with people to help them awaken their heart wisdom, to help their heart healing journey, their spiritual evolution journey, as well as this process was channeled through me called the Six Heart Illuminations, which helps people purify their heart to go from a heavy heart to a pure, lighter, cleaner heart so they can live life lighthearted. So it's been, I guess, now a 12-year journey. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. And I think one of the first things that when I was working with the healer, she said something about we're going to help you open your heart again. Because the whole experience of losing my husband, it felt like it was just contracted. And I don't think I realized that at the time. It was just her saying, we need to reopen your heart. So we're working at this. So what's your experience with that? Like, is that something the heart does energetically when you're in grief?
Well, the heart is a very intricate and interesting organ because it's physical and it supports the body physically, but it's also electromagnetic. Scientifically, they've discovered that the heart also has the same neuroreceptors and transmitters as the brain. So there's a heart brain. The heart actually has the same memory cells as the brain. So we do hold memories in our heart. And so grief, and when we have loss and grief, we feel it in our hearts because it's emotional, right? It's emotional, it's energy in motion. Emotions are emitted through the heart. And so closing our heart is a natural process of grief because we're trying to protect ourselves because we're so hurt. We're so hurt. And like when we get hurt, we can physically feel our heart like something drops out from here down into our belly sometimes. You can feel it. You can feel it start to contract, but we don't realize once it's been contracted for some time, we don't realize until we start healing the heart, we start releasing, surrendering, and letting go of some of the grief, some of the emotions. And then we can breathe, we start feeling more lighthearted. It's like a physical and emotional and a spiritual experience when we lighten the burdens from our heart and we start opening. And it is a little bit of a process, but a simple process. It's not a complex process.
And I think that's important to point out because I think in our minds we make it complicated, right? It's like, well, how am I going to do that? You start trying to think your way through it instead of feel your way through it, and that can get overwhelming, I think, to try to figure out how you would be able to open your heart to these emotions that are so strong and so yeah.
Yeah. And our natural tendencies to protect ourselves. It's almost like we've got a door and then we've got it locked and then we've got the chain on it and then we've got like steel doors and then everything, it's like so blocked. And the challenge when we protect our heart in that way is we're not able to express or receive love in the same way when we're so busy protecting our hearts from getting hurt. So in order to feel love again, to feel loved again, to feel lovable and loving, we have to release some of those burdens. We don't have to carry them through our lives. And that's what I've discovered through the Six Heart Illumination process is we don't have to carry it with us like baggage, like a backpack, like a sign on our forehead saying, this is my trauma, this is who I am, and I'm carrying it with me everywhere I go for everyone to see. We don't have to take that with us unless we really want to stay attached to that. Unless we want to stay attached to that, we really do need to release that grief so that we can move on with our life. It's natural to grieve for a certain period of time, but once it's too deep and too extensive where we're not functional for an extended period of time, then it starts becoming our norm, and that's not healthy anymore. That's not
Mhm.
healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's where some people really, after a certain amount of time, maybe trying to venture out, doing what society tells you to do, move on, move forward, put on a brave face, all of that. And you're not actually healing your heart, you're not actually opening up to all of that. Then, yes, it does get comfortable because that's all you know for when I think people kind of give up too, because you try to move on and then you can't. And then, it's tough. It's really tough.
It, of course, it's really, really tough. And the challenge with grief and anger and resentment with these emotions is they're what are considered lower vibration emotions, and they're emotions that are depleting. So these emotions actually deplete your energy. And so this is why people find themselves not being able to get out of bed, not being able to think clearly, not knowing what to do next, almost really paralyzed by these emotions because it's completely depleting the energy source of the body. And that's why it's not good to stay in the grief process for too long. We have to, as individuals, move up the emotional scale. So maybe we go from grief to anger, and then from anger to hopefulness. And then from hopefulness, maybe we move a little further up to feeling happy one day. And then from happy, maybe to feel appreciation, gratitude, and joy, some of those higher vibration emotions, which are renewing. So happiness, joy, love, appreciation, gratitude, these are all renewing emotions. So these give your body energy. So over time, maybe it takes 6 months or whatever it takes, but always looking for that one little step, that one higher vibration emotion to strive for, to reach for, and life is cyclical. So you may have some really good days and some really bad days, and it's okay. One of the things that's so beautiful about being human, being spiritual beings, having a human experience, is this broad range of emotions. Humans experience a very broad range of emotions. For example, you can't really experience pure joy and happiness if you haven't experienced loss or grief or sadness. You might be just sitting in the middle, coasting through life, but not really feeling love and joy, but not really, just kind of there. So yes, we don't want to have the highs too high and the lows too low, but you do want to experience the beauty of our emotions, the beauty of joy. And we all feel that broad range to different extents.
And I think that's really true because I remember after, going through grief, those first few months, especially after I lost my husband, and some of the deep, dark emotions that I would experience. And once I learned to actually embrace that and allow it, then I found out when I had some joyful moments, they were really joyful, probably more so than what I had experienced before, which was kind of shocking to me. Like, it was like, well, how can this be, And actually, it takes you back a little bit. You think, well, why or how can this be happening? But I think you're right. When you open yourself up to experience that, the deep, dark lows, you also get the highs. And yeah, so interesting. So the heart, I know, is, and you referred to this a little bit about it being like almost like another brain. There's some wisdom in the heart. And so, can you talk about what is that heart wisdom all about?
Sure, absolutely. It's my favorite topic and of conversation and sharing with anyone who's interested in listening about it. So the heart, as we develop in the embryo, the spine develops, but then the heart is the first organ. And from the heart, really everything else develops within the body. So the heart has the original wisdom of creation in it, right? So what comes within the heart is wisdom, not knowledge, wisdom of creation, wisdom of creating every cell, knowing which cells and which organs need to change and evolve and to grow. So our society tends to favor developing the brain and our knowledge and our intellect through school and through study and through degrees and certificates and programs and certifications and all of that, which is great. But the heart wisdom that comes, which is directly from source, directly from our source of creation, knows everything about the universe, right? Here we are learning, our brain is learning just about Earth and our life and reality, but our heart knows the wisdom of all of creation. And so when we awaken to our heart wisdom, we start remembering insights, we start experiencing intuition, we start having premonition, our clair senses start evolving. We might find ourselves predictive like we never were before. We have this innate knowing. And people say, well, how do you know? Do you have a degree? Did you study that? No, I know. Like there's this knowing that this is truth. This is what's real. This is what's right for me. This is what's happening. Our brain can tend to create its own scenarios and stories which are not even real. And when we can, one of the things that we learn in heart math to support people in is to become coherent. And coherence is balance between our brain and our thoughts and our heart feelings and emotions. So there's a balance. And when we're coherent, it's an optimal state of being. And so this heart wisdom, the more and the more we can tap into our heart, tap into our inner world, tap into it, the more wisdom starts flowing through us. You know, we just have to be receptive and allow ourselves to receive that wisdom and take its guidance, its higher guidance, its guidance from our soul, from our higher self, from our source, from our God, our spirit guides, whoever it might be, that is coming through our heart. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, yeah. It
So
is.
in the heart math, is there, because I've done absolutely no research on this, as I said, I had some kind of energetic block to it. So what is it? Is it a practice of meditation, or is it a method of healing the heart? Like, explain to me more about, you've talked about how this coherence can happen. How does that happen? What's the practice?
So heart math is simple steps of self-regulating your emotions through using your breath. You're using your breath, you're using certain prompts, and you're using visualization, and you're breathing through your heart. And I'm happy also to demonstrate, if you like, for your audience. Follow along if they want, but there's a certain technique of breathing through your heart and then creating feelings of love or care or compassion, actually feeling those feelings. And in order to feel those feelings, you might need to visualize or remember an experience that you had with a loved one to feel love in your heart. Because your heart has memories, if you want to on the moment feel the feeling of love or feel the feeling of joy, you're going to think about a joyful experience or a loving experience where you felt loved or you felt you were sharing love with another. It could be a pet, it could be a partner, it could be parents, siblings, whoever it might be. And then once you're feeling the feeling in your heart, then you radiate that feeling throughout your body. And there's different practices. There's the heart lock-in, there's the shift and uplift, there's the freeze frame, there's different heart math techniques. I would say probably 10 to 15, depending on what you're trying to get at. Like the freeze frame technique is just 5 simple steps once you're in the heart of how to tap into your intuition to get answers you need regarding something important. Like if you're at a crossroads or you need to make a decision about something, or you need to feel into an experience you had to have a deeper understanding of what just happened. Because sometimes things happen and we don't know what just happened, but you want your heart's insight as to what happened. So you could do the freeze frame technique. Heart math is great to use in the moment. So let's say, because heart math and this breathwork practice regulates your autonomic nervous system. So you move from sympathetic to parasympathetic. So you, through the breath, you're able to release the feel-good hormones in the moment to allow people to regulate so they can shift quickly out of fight or flight into this state of inner ease, inner peace, and inner calm as something is happening. You just have to be able to recall in the moment to do it. So it's one of the only techniques that you can actually do in the moment. A lot of the techniques, the stress management techniques, are recovery after the incident. This is like in the moment, you can use your breath as a situation is occurring. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really powerful, very simple, but really powerful. Very simple.
Yeah. It sounds like it would be very helpful, in those circumstances. And then you find yourself in them fairly often, especially when you're first in those throes of grief. So could you do a little demonstration? I would love that if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do. So maybe I'll just take a few minutes to just share about what the Six Heart Illuminations
Yeah.
are.
Sure.
And then we'll do the purification visualization meditation. How's that?
Okay. Sounds great.
Okay, good. So the Six Heart Illuminations came out of meditation. And just before COVID, I started to get these really clear, intuitive insights that I had to have a journal by me so that when I came out of meditation, I could journal what was coming out. I was also guided to certain books. And then when I read certain sections of these books, it wasn't like reading the whole book. It was like certain sections of books. There were spiritual teachers. And then I said, oh, this relates to what came up in meditation. And what I realized is that the Six Heart Illuminations is a modern approach to ancient wisdom, right? So the ancient sages, the Vedic teachers, the Egyptian teachings and belief systems, this is a modern approach for today and where humanity is. And so the Six Heart Illuminations is a process to help people transition from a heavy heart to a light, pure, and clean heart. And the first step is to awaken the heart, which is to acknowledge the heart as more than just an organ that pumps blood, and actually that it does so much more. So there's an awakening process, there's an awareness process, there's a paying attention to the heart, and not just the heart, but paying attention to our emotions. How are we feeling about things? Like we've gotten so used to when we're with our friends or family, well, what do you think about that? And what do you think about that? Oh, I think this, and oh, I think that. And you shift your awareness and start expressing, well, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? How do I feel about this? So when you start tapping into your feelings about this situation, it's automatically deeper. It deepens the conversation, it deepens the experience. So that's the first step, is awakening to our heart, its feelings and emotions. The second is activating the heart. So the second step is heart activation. And what that is just feeling feelings again. Because like we were talking about, when you close your heart, you've closed yourself off to feeling feelings. And what I found early on, even when I was working with people in heart math coaching, I discovered people were starting to ask me, well, how do I feel feelings? Because we're not prompted in life to feel feelings. We either feel them or we don't.
Right.
But there's this whole process of feeling feelings again. And then the third step, and I feel the core of the Six Heart Illuminations, is the heart purification, which is the actual step to release, surrender, and let go of what weighs heavy on our hearts without having to relive or re-experience those, what we might be grieving or a loss or trauma. We're not reliving it through this process. We're not re-experiencing those feelings. And you'll see through this process how that is. But once you're able to do that, and it might take a couple of times sometimes, it's not like it's a one-time shot, just like with any healing journey. But by the end of the Six Heart Illumination, everyone says they feel more lighthearted. So that's the core, is the purification. And then the next step, the fourth step of the Six Heart Illuminations, is heart magnetization. So our heart is electromagnetic. So it has an electromagnetic field, and it's emitting information into the universe, and it's receiving information. And so we want to magnetize our heart. From a pure heart, we're magnetizing what we want to draw into our life from a pure heart, from a cleaner heart, from a lighter heart. And so it's kind of a manifestation process, a magnetization manifestation, but you're drawing in from a lighter heart. So I find that a lot of people who are very much into manifestation and the law of attraction keep drawing in the same thing over and over again, and they don't understand why. And that's because they're working with this heavy heart. So they keep what they're unknowingly sending out are signals that are signaling the same thing over and over, even though they're speaking something different. Their energetic vibration is in a different place than what they're actually speaking. So here in the magnetization, your heart is in alignment with what you're speaking. And so what you're sending out is a higher vibration that you're sending out, and you're drawing in also at that higher vibration. So there's that magnetization process. Then the fifth is the amplification, which is amplifying from this pure heart. And then the final step is the heart illumination, which is shining your inner light. Like you've gone through a process where you're feeling more lighthearted, you're shining your inner light, you're more connected, people are seeing you beaming. You know, there's always those people you're like, I want what they're having. Like they're always happy, they're always smiling. It doesn't mean that they don't have the ups and downs in life. They just have a different perspective. They're always light, they're great to be around. So we all can become that person. And we just take life in stride, and we pick ourselves up a lot easier through this process than allowing us to stay in that funk sometimes that we might stay in. So the sixth is shining our light. And I've seen it with people that I work with in classes. They come out of the meditation and they're just like beaming, like you can see the light, and the other participants can see the light too. It's a physical and an energetic seeing of the light, and seeing them as light. So it's this gradual process that I do with my coaching clients, my course participants. I do one-on-one or group coaching, in person or virtual. It works both ways. Both are just as successful. And the results that people going through this process are having is just, I just tried it out with people with my heart math coaching clients, and they were having such amazing results with the Six Heart Illuminations. I was just like, oh my God, this stuff really works, really
Mhm.
works. I'm in the process of making it an online course, and I've been writing the book as well. Since everything is documented, it's just a matter of putting it into a book format, which I'm halfway there. The meat of it is done.
That's exciting. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So would you like me to guide us through the meditation?
Absolutely.
Perfect, perfect.
Great.
So I'll just invite you to sit with a straight spine for you and your followers and your audience. Just sit with a straight spine and just relax your shoulders, and I'll invite you to relax your eyes closed and just shift your attention and energy to gently and slowly breathing in and out of the heart, as if your mouth is physically sitting at the center of your chest, taking each gentle and slow inhale for about 5-6 seconds, and exhale for about 5-6 seconds. Just softening your heart and taking each breath as a soft and gentle inhale. And if your mind wanders, you can just bring your attention back to your breath. Now, on your next inhale, bring in the feeling of appreciation, gratitude, or love for someone, something, or someplace in your life. So maybe you really appreciate a partner and something they've done for you recently, or you really love your children or your pets, whatever it is for you. Could be person, it could be deep appreciation for nature and being out at the ocean, walking on a nice white sand beach with warm water lapping at your feet, watching the sunset, where you just feel this deep ease and appreciation for the moment. It could be deep appreciation for your work and what you do and who you support. Just really focus on developing that feeling deep in your heart. Now radiate this feeling from your heart, radiate it out in all directions like a warm, nurturing vibration of golden white light, vibrating out like a soft candlelight, expanding out and getting brighter and brighter, and allowing this appreciation and love to permeate every cell and particle of your being, illuminated by this nurturing, nourishing white light of love, peace, harmony. Now expand it out beyond your body, just slightly beyond your body, and feel yourself floating gently and weightlessly in a bubble of love-filled light emanating from your heart, nurturing and nourishing and comforting you and every cell of your being. Now feel yourself floating in this bubble. Feel a golden white light, a river of white light flow down from your head, down through your feet, as if you're just floating in a river of golden white light, cleansing you, purifying you, flushing through you with light and love, acceptance. And now release, surrender, and let go into this river of light. Anything that no longer supports your highest and best self. Let go of any burdens, any resentments, any regrets. Just see yourself releasing them into this river of golden white light flushing through you, and just see those feelings and emotions dissipate and disappear into nothingness. Maybe you see yourself carrying that weight with your hand, that grief, that sorrow, that anger, the sadness, the disappointment. See yourself carrying it and releasing it and letting it go into the light and watching it disappear as it flows down the river of light and love. Anything in this moment that needs to be dissolved into your heart's divine love, into this radiant light. Any personal regrets or disappointments, just let them go. Let them go into the light, washed away, dissipated forever. Any relationship sadness, anger, attachments, just dissolve them away into the light. Any self-limiting beliefs of worthiness, just let them go into the light. Forgive yourself for anything that might you feel resentment towards yourself. Just release it into the light, letting it go, forgiving yourself. Anyone who may have harmed you or hurt you, knowingly or unknowingly, just release that experience. Allow it to be cleansed, purified, and washed away by divine love, by divine light washing through you. Affirm silently with me, I'm forgiveness, acting here, casting out all doubt and fear, setting souls forever free on wings of cosmic victory. I am calling forth full power for forgiveness every hour to all life in every place. I now set forth full forgiving grace. Now feel yourself in this bubble of nurturing, nourishing, comforting, divine love and light. Feel yourself surrounded and protected by love, internally feeling these words as I share them with you. I am love. I am loved. I am loving. I am lovable. I am worth loving. I am a divine embodiment of love. I am surrounded by love. Now radiate this love that's emanating from your heart to every particle of your being. Feel your heart melting in these waves of love, softening, becoming tender, whole and complete again. Feel the light of divine love flowing out through you. Now thank your divine self, your higher being, your soul, your connection to source, to your source, for this love, this light that has cleansed and purified you. And just bring your attention back to your heart and just softly, gently, slowly inhaling and exhaling through your heart. Maybe you wiggle your fingers and your toes a little bit just to come back into the body. And when you're ready, you can open up your eyes and just come back into our discussion.
Wow. There was so many shifts in that just actually surprised me just as I was enjoying it, relaxing into it, and it'd be like, whoa, whoa. Feel the energy shifts. So that is amazing. Yeah.
You feel now, as opposed to before, do you feel a little bit of lightness? Did you sense releasing anything or anything dissipating? Or did you just feel the energy of the love and the light coming through you? You know, what
Mhm.
was
Yeah, like it felt like there was something that was going into that river, but honestly, I don't know what. And I've learned not to question anything. It's like just let it go, whatever it is. um, and yeah, I feel so expansive right now, just really big and light. Yes, light. Yeah.
Yes, it is very heart expanding. Yes, it is.
Hmm.
There
Yeah.
is that sense of expansion. We're when our heart expands, we're really um, becoming liberated and feeling a sense of freedom. Comes with soul and heart expansion. So
Mhm.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I don't know if I felt expansive in that way before because, I think the mind always thinks, well, you're in this body, right? How can you expand beyond?
Yeah, we can. We can. We're super big. We're a lot bigger than this physical form for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, it's just that practice, right? And yeah, so this has been awesome.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
My honor to share it.
Yeah, well, thank you so much because I think the listeners are going to love this. And the cool thing is now it's recorded, so you can go back and listen. But not only that, tell people how they can get a hold of you and they can get more of this.
Sure, sure. Because this is just one step in the process, and
Hmm.
it, my approach is very personal. Some people like to focus on themselves. Some people like to grow and evolve in groups. They're both great, but they're both different. Some people are at a distance, and let me tell you, doing this work with my clients through Zoom is just as successful as it is in person. So I have an in-person group here in Los Angeles that I've been working with and coaching through the Six Heart Illuminations, and they loved it so much as a group. We're continuing coaching every month since then, and we finished this back in January. but we had to do a Zoom call last night. So that was so powerful that I think they don't care if it's in person or on Zoom anymore. So I just wanted to share that. But at my website, Jen Dickens, JenDickens.com, you can go to services and you'll see there listed heart healing services, expanding your capacity to love, group coaching, one-on-one coaching, as well as retreats, classes, and courses. So you can click on what resonates for you. There's some free online classes, there's some paid online classes, there's free in-person and paid in-person as well. I'll do a free consult if people just want to coach around a certain situation to how to resolve it energetically through the heart. So it doesn't have to be the Six Heart Illumination. It could be coaching around something that they can't quite get a grasp of how to heal. And then also in the resource section, if you click on the resource section of the website, there's 2 free downloadable books. One is Heart Intelligence, and the other one is one of my clients. She's a Harvard-trained cardiologist. I've been working with her patients for almost a year now. And her book, Your Vibrant Heart, you can download a digital version of that as well for free. And in her book, she says you can't heal the physical heart without healing the emotional and the spiritual heart. So it is important to do this emotional and spiritual healing work, because you will just find everything will just start naturally falling into place more effortlessly than if you were trying to force it physically or fix it physically. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. I love that. So is there
Yay.
anything else you would like to add before we go?
Well, I just want to encourage people to take the initiative to heal their inner being, not just heal it, but get to know who you are, uh, deepen your awakening journey, because we're all awakening, but beyond awakening, there's remembering who we are. And beyond remembering, there's knowing who we are. So one of the things that when you get into your heart is, after some time, through being in stillness with yourself, through doing this type of work, through meditation and sitting in stillness with yourself, is there's this deep knowing of who you are that is so comforting. That is so comforting. It's like a peeling back of the layers. It's like a lifting of the veil. It takes a little time, or for some people, it's very quick. But that inner journey is, I feel, even more exciting than exploring this planet and traveling, because I love travel. But I find that traveling and seeing the beauty of nature is amazing and extraordinary. But what you discover in your inner world and who you are and how to love yourself and care for yourself, really, the love we are seeking is also right here. And the more we love ourselves, the more we attract loving people into our lives. And they are going to love us more deeply because we love ourselves more deeply. So you're going to attract people at that vibration. So I just encourage people to do the heart work. Don't be afraid of it. The journey is so sweet. It really is so, so sweet. You'll get so many blessings along the way. So, so many blessings.
Yes, and that has certainly been my experience. So,
Yeah.
and you said that so well. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Angela. This has just been such a joy, sharing the Six Heart Illuminations and the Awakening of Heart Wisdom and the Heart Math with your community.
Thank you so much. And I want to thank you, everyone, for listening. And bye for now.